Yes, we are going to talk about the new Switch 2 leaks, but first, things that are happening right now involving The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and the Pokemon Pocket TCG app that shockingly is now available. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Let me pull this up for you. The Pokemon Pocket app was supposed to launch on Halloween, as far as I know, but I'm loading into it right now. Here it is. Boom. It's telling me the game can't currently be played in your region because, oops, you've got to digitally travel to New Zealand if you want to play Pokemon Pocket, but it's totally doable. You just have to search on Google how to create an Apple ID account for a different region and then how to use different region apps, and boom, you can play. I'll be giving you guys my thoughts and some gameplay on that soon, but also Zelda Echoes of Wisdom has been getting dragged through the mud a bit because of its performance hiccups. The game does not run perfectly. They're saying that the frame rate is actually worse than Link's Awakening, but I don't think it matters. Now, Nintendo should make the very best games that they're capable of making, but the game here is absolutely phenomenal. And I don't think we should get dragged down by some performance issues on a system that never has prioritized performance. Very interesting to discuss, especially on the heels of Miyamoto saying that he never wants to be part of any sort of console war and doesn't feel like battling for power is really all that important. Now, the issue here is that Zelda Echoes of Wisdom runs better indoor areas, and then you go outdoors, it drops. It goes from 1080p to 720p apparently, indoors to outdoors. It's 60 frames per second if you're not really moving around too much. Then it goes to 30 frames per second when you are on the overworld. I have not found that to be negatively impacting my experience whatsoever. So I just want to say, if you're curious about Echoes of Wisdom and you're worried about some of the things you're seeing about performance or that this might not be the good Zelda that we were hoping, it is. It truly is. The game is freaking fantastic. I've been loving it every second, and I want to go play more of it right freaking now. By the way, what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Did not say that at the top, but I had to get those two things out the way because I thought they were important. If you want to play Pokemon Pocket right away, you can do that on both iPhone and Android. And do not be scared off by naysayers of Echoes of Wisdom. The game is freaking great, and I think the creativity and the combat are super fun. People have said the combat isn't like that exciting or engaging because Zelda's not directly involved, but she can be with Sword Fighter mode, and that becomes a big part of boss battles as you progress through the game. So I give it a humongous recommendation right now. The biggest seal of approval SwitchForce can possibly give it. But let's talk about a seal of Switch 2 that has been broken. This is an interesting interview coming from a Spanish podcast talking about new details of the Switch 2 with an accessories manufacturer. Now pause. We've had a little bit of this before. Back in the day, MobaPad had some leaks about the Switch 2 and the Joy-Con and how things were going to work out, and a lot of that information we now take to be pretty true. So while typically I'd say an accessories manufacturer doesn't have a lot of knowledge, they also don't, I think, maybe have as much stake in the game. This isn't like Capcom risking it by spilling the guts on the Switch 2. This is some accessories manufacturer, and probably a foreign accessories manufacturer that maybe Nintendo doesn't have that much control of. Now, what's interesting here is this is a CEO of an accessories manufacturer that supposedly knows about the Switch 2, and the information that they're giving can be described by the following bullet points. They say that the console is now complete, which I think really isn't much information at all. We highly expect that it's complete because we know that it has to enter production soon if it's going to be releasing in the first half of 2025, which is still what seems to be the anticipated release window. They also say that the launch date is speculated to be March and April of 2025, but again, that is more that we've heard, but a nice little confirmation if you are to believe this accessory CEO. They say that the leaked model, the one that we have been discussing and seeing, the 3D rendered model that was then 3D printed, as well as the shells that were actual photos, that is an obsolete model, but it's not too dissimilar to the final unit. So it's going to look akin to that, but not exactly like that, which I think is what we sort of expected. A prototype model, an in-production model, is something that probably doesn't have all the nuances, all of the little cuts, and all of the little scrapes, and all of the little flourishes that will make this the final Switch 2 for us. But what's most interesting to me about this interview is when they go on to talk about the analog sticks. And here's where I tell you, I don't know if this person is downright crazy or if they're onto something that we have not suspected yet. They say that the analog sticks will be shaped differently. And that's weird, okay. I mean, the analog sticks on the Joy-Con aren't that great, to be honest. I don't think they feel that great. I think they're kind of small, and I don't think they're anywhere near as good as, say, the Steam Deck analog sticks or the Pro Controller analog sticks or pretty much every other analog stick. So them being different shaped makes sense. Okay, I'm on board. Then they say it's not compatible with current analog stick covers, and that would make sense if the analog stick is bigger, if the analog stick is deeper, if there is some sort of shape or, depth difference of how the stick is formed. But here's where it gets really weird. They say it will not be possible to manufacture new analog stick covers. And this is very bizarre, because why on earth would it not be possible to manufacture new covers unless these analog sticks were flush with the system to a point that you could not fit a cover over it? Yikes. Who had a CirclePad Pro? Anybody remember that newfangled device that you snatched on to your Nintendo Portable and got to slide your way around with an analog stick instead of a D-pad? Yes, it was an improvement, but I wouldn't say it's something we want to see again. A sliding stick seems like a humongous step backwards for a set of controllers, the Joy-Con, that already are not looked upon all that favorably. The idea that Nintendo would shift from a smaller, not very tall stick to something infinitely short and that just slides feels like a horrible move. So bad that I can't really imagine Nintendo deciding to go through with that. So I'm going to throw that out. I do not think there's a way that Nintendo goes with a circle pad for their analog sticks on the Switch 2. So then I ask myself, why else could it not be possible to manufacture new analog stick covers? Now there's two ways this can go. Well, three really. And the third is this person could just be spilling garbage and nonsense and we take it with a grain of salt. But the other two are as follows. One, it's not possible to manufacture new covers because this is some type of new stick and maybe something that requires some sort of touch. Like the stick itself needs to feel and sense the positioning of your finger, and therefore you cannot cover the stick. This would be an interesting gimmick that might make the experience better, although to me it feels like a gimmick that would just be there for gimmick's sake, but hey, I'll never say never. Nintendo could have innovated on something interesting. I think there's been a few things out there talking about joystick evolution as well as patents that Nintendo has previously filed that would kind of lead us to believe that maybe they have experimented with something very weird and very different and that does really try to take into account the positioning of the player's finger. It feels like something Nintendo would do, but I don't really understand or know how this would better the gameplay experience. Like, you're controlling Mario. Do I really need the stick to know where my thumb is? I guess for positioning or for ease of use. Is this going to make it more accessible? Is this trying to make the Switch 2 like the easiest to play system of all time? I'm not sure. But the other option is that they can't manufacture new covers because they don't know exactly what the sticks look like yet. Now, this seems incredibly obvious, but given that this is a translated list from a Spanish video game site named Vandal, talking with a CEO of an accessory company that I assume is also foreign, maybe something is just lost in translation. Maybe they really are trying to say that they can't manufacture new covers yet because they don't know what it's going to look like. Like, sure, it's going to be different. I believe that. The current analog stick covers will not work, but literally that could just mean a 15% size increase, and they don't know exactly how much it's going to be. So until it's in their hands, they're not going to start manufacturing new analog stick covers. I know this seems really obvious and really dumb, but I have to throw it out there because I think at the end of the day, this is the most likely outcome. They probably just don't know exactly what it's going to look like, and therefore they need to wait and see. So much of this Switch 2 stuff is in wait and see mode, but a lot of people are expecting and at least believing in the hope that October could be the time, that Nintendo's strange maneuvering and their doubling up of directs and their absence from September, where they're normally very present, is leading to something, and that October would still be a perfectly fine time to drop the Switch 2 reveal, especially because that's exactly when they dropped the Switch 1 reveal. Now, we cannot be on a day-by-day watch because that would be insane, but it does seem like the second week of October is what people are targeting. So if it does happen at that time, I'm super excited. I'm super ready for it. I think they absolutely should announce it. The PS5 Pro is out there. Zelda is out there. Mario Party is looking sweet and probably doesn't need a ton of Nintendo-backed media and marketing. It's going to sell like hotcakes because of the established cachet of that franchise. So October would be a great time to get it out there, let people know, and just stop the frenzy that is all of this crazy speculation. We've got accessories manufacturers in Spain talking about stuff, and Joy-Con sticks that aren't going to be able to have covers, and magnets, and new sounds, and logos, and USB ports, and all sorts of strange accessories that could be attached to said ports, but we don't know anything super concrete except that this is a bigger Switch and a better Switch. So please show us that bigger, better Switch. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I'm going to be doing more on Zelda and hopefully Pokemon Pocket as well, so stay tuned for that. Both of those are very interesting. Zelda, though, is freaking fantastic, and spoiler, it is my favorite Switch game of the year by far. So enjoy your weekend. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. SwitchForce out.